So I hope you've done your homework a little bit. I at least required it of field meeting presenters, all these wonderful, incredible human beings, so talented, so busy, so incredibly occupied with their works across the world, to take the time to come here again for a format of a 15-minute spotlight. It is, there's something commendable about the energy that's been created and the desire to connect with each other somehow, that has made field meetings something where I'm astonished that people they're willing to do it and come from very far off places. So thank you again, everyone here who has actually traveled from far off places, except for 2 people, although they did also travel from one at birth from Korea and the other recently from Kosovo. I would like to open the discussion and actually ask Sislej if he's willing not to be so incredibly rebellious and resistant and speak to us about his ideas and thoughts regarding performance.
Huh? First of all, thank you for invitation. And I was speaking with Yehuda outside. He said to me, why you are here? I said to him that Kosovo maybe was in Silk Road once upon a time. And so I'm going to the Asia through the Western world, had to pass through the Kosovo and Balkans. I ask a question, and I use art to ask a question. I don't know the response. If I will know response, I'll never do art. This is a big trouble. I use art to question and to resist our time, to resist myself, to resist to survive, struggle to survive. Art is resistance. Today, we resist in New York, somebody in Bangladesh resist, in India resist, maybe somebody in Manhattan resist, in Stockholm resist. We all resist to live. To live, and using the art, it's an amazing magic journey. But I don't know to talk. I think action proves more than my words.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Questions? Yes, Anthony, you're not resisting. Good.
Oh, that's a great question. Heavy sort of security-oriented environment to hang the painting like that is impossible. So I first went right to the CEO of Beijing Architecture Design Institute, who actually made the design possible. They built that thing. So I went to them, I said, can you steal that model and show it to me so that I understand how I can have the painting hung. And the negotiation with the airport was also impossible. To penetrate into a space like that, whether it's during the day or late at night, was very difficult. So we had to sneak 4 genies in, and to finally accomplish that in time for the 1-year anniversary, I think was perhaps the most creative part out of everything else. When I was standing there thinking, what has happened to that country, my own country, I have to say, I was quite moved. The fact that they would allow this, even just to take place for a day, it's telling. It's telling to a world where anything is possible. And I will be honest with you, I never thought that would have been possible. So the conversation with the CEO of BIAD began the possibility because I was able to go in showing that I've had research and proof. But if I didn't have those models, I didn't understand the weight, the tremendous amount of weight going up to that frame. Having understand that and being there and made it possible. And for me, in the end, it was a relief. I understood that even for the most brief moment, there was a gap of hope in that heavy security.
Yanshin, actually, well, something to the point of what you said, that you are, you have the secret where you run to, or you go to, I don't know where you go to, but something in relationship to you being a wolf, which, yeah, Bingyi. And it made me think about actually the line that this thread in this body. This is a curated program, so everything has actually been thought about quite a lot. I definitely, in all the proposals and the conversations and the studio visits over Skypes that we've had, felt the different animal spirits from each and every one of you. But I would like to take this conversation, although we're going to go much deeper in regards to, I also felt like there was this really incredible variety of types of the spirit that shows up in the performance, and that it's not capturable, which is why I felt it was important to, in a way, also group this ungroupable sort of beings in this one section. So I'll just start with Yanshin, if you can just talk a little bit about what that incredible reading, full of facts, and I felt like maybe not too many facts, also some fiction, was all about.
Hello. Actually, the work finished in 2012. It was at the Shenzhen Sculpture Biennale the first time I presented this piece. And last year I also presented it in Art Basel, Miami, but by a native actor. So it is not a totally performative-based practice. It's also an installation. And in the first presentation, I'll show many of the materials to the audiences to let them trust that really there is an artist called, I don't know, maybe somebody really existed, but actually that's not true. So actually for me, I'm very fascinating about how I can working with the different materials with different disciplinaries, like also the visual art and the literature, and also some stage art. So for me and my team, we are spending lots of the time to prepare the scripts, or we call it like the fundament of the performance. So I'm not sure really I'm doing the performance, but that's not important, right? The important is we are doing the art. So for me, I think, yeah. Yeah. And also maybe I can share the performance this year. I think I completely realized in Asian Art Museum, which linked us. And also right now I'm running an institution which I organized from in 2013 in Norway. It is called the Honorable East India Institute. It's the academic institute that I can invite the different the scholars from the Eastern Asian study to join to my performance. And this year in Asian Art Museum, contact with the 20th Chinese by Rubel family, I invited like the professor from Stanford, Tom Mullaney, and Jeffrey Wasserstrom from UC Irvine, and we organized a new academic lecture performance like today, but it's at the Asian Art Museum. It's called the Lessons on the Far East. It's about the new format of the debating, and two scholars on the stage, they
Form of debating?
And the new form of
A new
debating.
form of debating.
Yeah, debating, yeah. And they're on the stage to present them own perspective about to be in the different generations' technologies, what's their angles, what's their perspective about China right now or in the past. So, yeah, that also could be performance, yeah.
Well, we have a lot to talk about and break that down on, at Performa Hub.
Yeah, that's true.
Tackling performance lecture, the medium. So you're going to get a number of tastes and feels of it today with the next session. And I would rather not really discuss it so much so that it's experienced, and then you can make up your own minds and have questions, and we can hopefully take the conversation up again on November 2nd. Yeah. Okay. Questions from the audience? Okay, great.
This is a question for Mr. CYLKOWSKI. I apologize if that's not correct. That's good. I thought it was interesting. Thank you. Seeing how you began with graffiti and with tagging and moving into like a studio and gallery environment. And I guess I'm curious, is there some part of that you miss? I mean, do you see that as something that, obviously I think there are threads, you know, aesthetically, let's say, in your work, but I mean, do you see that as something that you might return to or that might inform your work, not on a graphic level, but maybe in terms of, I mean, I'm seeing the phrase thinking performance behind you, but, you know, performativity or how you engage with an audience, you know, relative to like a gallery and museum environment?
Hello? Okay. I've taken a break from painting walls and murals, which I think I would go back to doing. I miss the aspects of graffiti art. I miss the fun of it, actually, the excitement and the thrill, because it is a ton of fun. I just don't want to get arrested and deal with court cases and stuff anymore. But a part of me is also just bored with graffiti as far as the surface appearance of it is just, you know, the name, it's very ego-driven, and it's, I mean, the spray paint has gotten so much better than back in the day. So it's actually, the colors and the paint is very rich, and what the guys are doing now is it's pretty amazing. But it kind of it begins to fall a little bit too sort of illustrative for me. And so what I'm able to do in the studio practice is, I feel like push the paint and what I can do with it much farther than just, say, spray painting on a wall. Like the paints, the automotive paints and stuff that I'm doing now it's incredible stuff. So I feel like where I'm at now is mostly like within a studio environment and what I'm able to do there. It's just the cancerous, toxic elements of the paints that I use. It's a problem, but I know I think, you know, as I've gotten older, just, you know, what fulfills me is not the same, but as long as the spirit of this is in the work.
But what about the resistance? How does that show up? How does the rebelliousness, that part of you that, you know, spun it out of you when you were performing, dancing, and the part of you that did look for trouble and get into trouble and somehow escape trouble through the graffiti paintings? My interest was to hear a little bit more also about all the performativity of resistance and how does that continue in the work. Maybe it's more subtle, but I hope it's, you know, you can just touch on how it shows up still.
I mean, I hope it's showing up. I mean, I hope it speaks for itself, but I'm hoping this sort of energy is still conveyed through, you know, the process of pouring and smearing and the collision of different, you know, mark-making elements on the canvas. the collision of layers. I'm hoping that intensity is still there. I don't know. I guess maybe the work is like directly angry, but I hope to
Maybe you've just grown up.
maybe a little bit.
Is that it?
Maybe.
We grow up?
I don't know. I guess.
Let's let somebody else ask a question, please.
This is for Nezaket.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
I just was wondering if you could perform what you performed here this afternoon in Turkey.
It could be. It depends in which place I do it. If I do it in Istanbul, in a museum, where already some people coming from the art world, then it's no problem. If I do it on the street, directly with these commandments, I'm not sure. I not did it. I did it. I want to tell this performance is a fragment. I did it 2013. The title of the performance is 99 Commandments, and it's take more as 1 hour, and it's an installation, a huge table, and I'm in the oval table inside with 99 white plates, and I'm saying 99 different commandments from different religions. In my research, I saw, the religions are in a way similar. They have all this kind of commandments, and I asked me why they doing these commandments. For what is this good? In a way, I think it's also to bring the people like a civilization to put together and to make these rules. Some I'm against, like how they with the woman, if they have period, then you are unclean. What is meaning? I mean, we are human, you know. So, but some are very important. You shall not kill, yeah. But what the religion's doing, they're killing people. So, and in that moment, we are in a very critical situation in the world. You see what happened with Islamophobia, what happened with the ISIS, what happened with this. Everybody gets afraid. So I think it's so important that we have dialogue and speak. Okay, you have the rules. Some rules so important and effective and needed. Some are not good, but we need to be tolerant to each other. This we need to do, and that's why it was for me important this to show. Unfortunately, it's a short here, but this performance is take more as 1 hour, and you see how deep is get it, how the body get it, how the installation gets more and more a pearl. Each pearl have a quality, yeah. So showing this. So this I showed here a little bit from that. So, but I show in Ankara next year. I'm invited from Goethe Institute. You know, I'm doing 15 years of performance, and I did now 115 different performances in 40 different countries in 4 continents. And next year in Goethe Institute Ankara with the Women Film Festival, and they invite me to do a very dangerous piece, and it will be happen in the public space. I never did it in Turkey. It's about the coffee ceremony. If a young woman want to marry, no, sometimes you have no choice to choose your man. So family comes with the man, with the son, and you need to prepare, you need to cook good coffee and everything. And then they say, the father, can be married for my son. So, and I did this piece with Vaseline on a white wall. Because I had this with 18 years. I was a young girl, and but I can decide myself from my family. I say I don't want to marry it, but I did this ceremony to do good coffee, to serve and everything. And now, how I make the installation, I wrote everything what is in my mind on a white wall with Vaseline, and take 50 liters of fresh coffee and take a cup and put it against the wall, and the writing came out. So lifting a secret, all the secrets came out, and everything is not perfect. Everything is in mesh coffee. So, and I will do it in a public space in Ankara. Let's see what happens. So.
We have another 8 minutes. Any more questions from the audience?
It's more like common, because I met Nezaket like 15 years ago once, and I had such a great impression on her in the beginning, because that was the only performance I remember what she did. She was putting on clothes and clothes and clothes, many clothes. So I'm beautiful, until she was like a balloon. She couldn't put any more, she was so fat. That was the only thing I remember over the experience. And then now, after 15 years, the intensity of the performance has just grown so profound. I was so happy to see what is like grown up. You take the negative energy and make it sophisticated, and then it speak across the board. Political issue, feminist issue, and all issues that go so deeply in us. And then that made me think that thinking performance is not important, but doing it. So, because I feel so much, I almost want to cry about the ritual, about the restriction, because I feel that as an Asian woman. But thinking and talking about it doesn't get deeply into me. But seeing her doing it really impacted me. It's more like a comment. I wonder if, and us,
I mean, it's also not, even it is 1.5 meter, but it's like two kilos like that, you know, and the small line, you know, how look, it's already, deeping in my skin, it's effort, yeah, but, and you feel like in a border, you feel like you want to fight with that, you want to go out with that, and what can I do? I'm honest, I try to put out. And if I feel in the moment, I do it out. What can I do? It's like that. So I go deeply and put it out. So that's why maybe touch you. Yeah.
Another question? I actually had the connection for me between I think perhaps the Yanchen, yours is the most heady of all, a little bit, but the rest of most of the work, although I would say also Sisley's work is quite conceptual, but there's always some part of his body involved. I guess the physicality of performance really shows up in at least all Bingyi's work and Nezaket and XHAFA. I'm wondering if I have one question, if no one else does, for Nezaket, because I think this endurance performance, it's quite tough. I mean, we could see it happening, and there's a part of me that resists. I mean, we all resist and fear, I don't know, cathartic experience in a way, even though we know we could go beyond it and move through something really tough. There's a part of me that resists that I don't know if I'm gonna get out on the other side. What is, you know, what's what's the point of like the dark side for you in this, you know, very physical engagement? And I will ask Bingyi maybe, because it seemed so light and positive and brilliant, but there was the moment of like, you know, the helicopter looked quite terrifying, as terrifying to me as the beads almost like, you know, falling on our head when she was swinging them. So this risk.
Okay, it's very serious and not, it's heavy piece, but say it not as dark. I think dark is too negative. So I want to put out, I observe and look and want to be questioned. And this give a possibility to discuss and to talk about that. So religion, it's not easy, but religion, if you are a believer, is also something good thing. You know, you need to be open-minded and tolerant also other people's. So, and so, as I told you, some are heavies, but if we have nothing on religion, I think, I don't know where we go. So we need to believe in something as well. So I think So the piece is serious and heavy, but also saying something and talking.
Yeah, I actually didn't mean to call your piece dark, but that process of engaging the dark side, which is the commandments that you're talking about, the part that dominates and forces something down on us. That's the dark side that most people in the world doesn't know how to confront.
I will respond to you by telling a story. Before I came here, I was making a film. I took control of 3 courtyards at the center of Beijing city, getting ready to demolish them. Each day I walked into the site. On my left side, I could see the film set is being built up. My art director is setting up the entire interior in the most fanciful, colorful, filled with touch kind of sensual way. On my right side, I see the entire architectural team measuring the site, getting ready to take it apart. The film is getting built up, and you have to sort of imagine the most beautiful bamboo leaves dancing, splashing, singing. Meanwhile, this courtyard is being taken away, and 3 of them, all right in front of me. And the key characters of these films are actually insects. The most moving moment was a sex scene where a young girl was getting sexually involved with an insect. As the insect was crawling across her face, it actually peed on her eye. And I thought it was tears coming from her, but it really was from the insect. What is the dark force of nature? As a human being, I was sitting there experiencing the demolition, or literally the complete destruction and bombing of human beings. But what if you were that insect? In the whole swirl of the dark forces, the unknown is not the most fearful. Really, it's our determination to tear that apart is the most frightening.
On that note, let us digest the spirit and the profoundness of this last group and take a break. But please, please, be on time. Let's go with the ritual. 15 minutes. We have an incredible 6 other pieces and a discussion, and then the day will be over and you can go home and feast within yourself everything you've been eating all day long. Thank you so much.